We're still working on trying to find a venue for that second show in London. It's harder than you think, for some reason. And people don't like my politics. That's a big part of it. Did you know that?
Yeah. You know, I've been noticing some blowback on myself because of your politics.
Yeah. Oh, you?
Yeah. And I'm sorry to even bring it up, but I've been facing a pretty extreme harassment via social media.
Are you kidding?
The worst kind. Adult cyberbullying. Literally the worst kind.
Are you kidding?
People can be a little persnickety. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding.
Hasn't it been happening all the time? It's been happening to me for the last 10 years.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people that you've mentioned that you're like, can't believe that they're like that shitty, that I've never heard of and also or respected or cared about. They're wild, some of them.
Yeah, they're out of their minds. Jealousy is a wicked drug.
Yeah,
it really is. I know what it did to me.
Well, I mean, it is how we maintain a free market. So let's just calm down with that. But it is how we maintain our.
Go over to Steph.
I wasn't expecting that. Camera 4. All right. Are you coming to Palm Springs, the greater Palm Springs area, or the Zephyr? Now, listen, everybody. This is a live panel show at the Zephyr. All the other dates that we have listed are stand-up shows. But at the Zephyr on March 17th, it's a panel show. Special guest.
Special celebrity guest. Rob Schneider will be on that show.
Jimmy, I'm going to ask you. Oh.
What?
Did you guys see I guess they didn't air it, but the best sketch on SNL that Shane was in with the Liberty Emu?
No, I didn't see it.
You know, they bust in like cops, and the emu just shot the guy unarmed and then like planted a gun on him. Like, they had to like panic, and he was like a dirty, you know, the Liberty.
I don't know what emu is.
The Liberty. You never heard that?
I heard that. Isn't that an insurance commercial?
Yeah, it's a fake cop. I'd
have to watch it. Let me watch it. I'll watch it. All right.
Misha, a little help? No. You could just stand there like an asshole.
We're back over to Steph for a second.
Oh, back over to me. I wasn't even expecting it. Greater Palm Springs area. But I just want to tell you right now, if you didn't get a ticket yet for the Zephyr, there's probably about 10 tickets left. It's a larger venue than we were playing at Two Roads. But now we're at the Zephyr in Hollywood on Melrose. It's going to be a great venue. I'm looking forward to it. The dudes there are pretty nice. And one of our editors, Chris, turned us on to it. That's right, Chris. And I know what you did this weekend, Chris. I know what you did. All right, here we go. What do I got here? Zelensky said invest in BlackRock, but he left the Coke plant out, and now he's devastated. Watch his CNN interview. LOL. Ristos.
Do you think he's going to have a Nazi true trajectory where he suddenly can't get his shit towards the final days of the war, and then it really falls apart? You know, like Hitler was like having regular doctor speedballs until the bunker. So while he was losing like that, he's also withdrawing off speed and morphine.
Yeah, you never think these people that are these crazy sociopaths, psychopaths are on drugs. You never really think that, right? Like any kind of world leader.
If you think he escaped Hitler, I want you to explain to me how he withdrew off of doing speedballs every day during the war and suddenly not having him in a bunker. I would have killed myself just having to quit smoking.
Jay Savage, to recant literally means to sing again. Thank you so much for that one.
You sing a different tune.
The PB says the Yemeni Houthis bombed the fiber cable lines located under the Red Sea, according to Sky News. Thank you for that one, PB.
Okay.
Kurt, love the shirt. Where can I get it? You get Sweat Peter version 1. One of our fans sent it to the show. One of our fans. So I'll see if they tune in and let us know. Back to Jim.
So I don't know if you know, but this is the libs of TikTok. Now, she became famous by just posting videos that other liberals had made. She didn't comment on them. She just posted them, correct?
No, she literally just posted the actual things that they're doing.
Actual things that they're saying and doing.
Yes, not, look at this. And
just look at this.
And of course, that is an argument for what's called stochastic terrorism, which means if people find out about the crazy shit I'm doing, I could be in danger. And it's on you, pal.
So she sat down with the woman who doxed her, Taylor Lorenz, fake journalist who works for the Washington Post, and she's in her mid-40s, but she pretends like she's 16.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, well, she covers the millennial beat, the tech millennial beat. I think she's like 39 is the official age. So
she won't tell her age. But anyway, here we go. So I didn't know this was happening. They had an interview, and one of the things they talked about was that book Genderqueer, which Russ Dobular, who guest hosts the show, has enlightened me about, is basically just gross porn.
It's insane. You know how insane it is?
Yeah.
As a joke on Sasha's show for his Berkeley professor guy, he went to a homeschool convention.
Sasha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, and I wrote a terrible book, and everybody threw it out to like shock them. Like, we want to give this to kids about like some rabbits having like orgies in front of the rabbit kids.
Yeah,
it's it's to the family go like react normally to it. And the prop, I remember having the prop and it was well drawn, and I'm looking like, this is like horrible. The thing is a joke. I had it in my luggage. I'm like, I hope nobody ever has to like look at my luggage and ask, and I got to explain what in the hell this. Anyway, that book is basically like, well, at least we had cartoon rabbits to take the edge off.
So you're okay. So they're going to talk about this book, and Libs of TikTok is opposed to it, and
in a segment we like to call Yentle to Mental.
Like, why you don't speak up about the sexualization
problem. I guess I don't see as much. If I saw an example.
So she's asking her, why don't you speak out about the sexualization of children? And
while wearing a shirt of her crying.
So by the way, this is a shirt of Taylor Lorenz crying. Remember when she was on NBC? So they did a story on her on NBC where she cried about all the abuse she has to take online after she doxes people. And then she complained because people made fun of her for crying on that NBC news segment,
and attacking NBC for
NBC News. Yeah, she then attacks NBC News for having her on, and NBC News took the video down.
Oh my God!
No kidding. Here we go.
Of a child being sexualized. Of course, I have a problem with certain things. I will actually.
First of all, what would make this way funnier? If the Libs of TikTok lady kept pretending she couldn't hear Taylor because of her mask.
I'm sorry. Just let Taylor say her whole thing. And I'm sorry, I didn't get one part of that.
She's wearing her special blowjob blocker mask as she tries to. She's going to try to explain her way out of the inexplicable defense of child grooming for the minor attracted cult in the corridors of power. Here we go.
No, I will say.
So do you think we should give kids porn in school? The images of like gay sex?
I went to public school, and in public school, at least when I was growing up, we were absolutely given literature, explaining sex, educating.
Sex.
Yeah, that's
sex.
First of all, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about regular sex education. We're talking about this genderqueer book, and she's not. And watch, she keeps going.
It had pictures of like anal sex.
Can she just, first of all, Libs of TikTok should just explain to her that they're depicting anal sex, and the people depicting it aren't wearing masks. See what she says.
She's not. That's a great idea. I think you got to put it in terms Taylor Lorenz can understand.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, absolutely. And it actually talked about condom use.
What grade?
God, I mean.
I don't
remember, but certainly probably middle school. I think that's when we had sex ed.
So you think like
So you expect me to believe that at a public school Taylor attended from kindergarten to 6th grade, they had anal porn available in the library in the late 50s?
I thought they were uptight back then, in the 50s in middle school. They didn't like that kind of stuff.
Here we go.
Genderqueer, this book is gay. We should give that to kids in school.
I have not read those books, so I don't know. But I do think...
So she hasn't even read the books that she's advocating be allowed in the schools. How about... Anyway, so...
I gotta say, by the way, Libs of TikTok, you know what would have been better than wearing your Taylor Lorenz crying shirt, although I do love the shirt? Bring the book with you. Don't scroll on your tweets from your phone.
So what?
And just hold it
up
while she talks.
It's important to educate kids about sexuality, if nothing else, because... I have spoken to women that were abused sexually when they were young, very young. And one thing that they've told me is that they wish that they had the language to talk about it, and they weren't educated. They grew up in a I only know 2 that I've spoken to about this, but they've grown up in sort of societies where they weren't very educated about sex ed. They didn't receive sex ed in class. They went to a Catholic school or other sorts of schooling. And so I do think it's really important for kids to understand sex because, as we all know, a lot of teenagers can be sexually active. And I think sex education is important to promote, healthy attitudes, healthy understandings of sex. I mean, these are human bodies. You can't just expect to send kids off at 18 with absolutely no sex ed and then think that they can function in the world.
So we should give kids like pictures of gay sex in middle school and actually elementary school, some of them.
So basically, they sound like they're the same person,
Yes.
but just on different sides of the issue.
You laugh, but it's good. This is what I call a view killer.
What do you mean?
The new View. This show is going to kill the View.
Oh,
this is Barbara Walters' dream right here.
Yes, right here. Here we go.
I guess I'm wondering what you consider that. I think.
Do you want to see a picture?
Yes.
Well, I don't know, but
why not?
I mean,
You're old
are you talking
enough.
about the ones that you've posted on your Twitter account?
Of the
I guess
sex?
those don't look like what I received when I did sex ed, but I think sex ed is
So now she's admitting to, well, I've seen the pictures that you've posted on your Twitter feed, and those don't look like the pictures I saw. Yeah, that's why we're talking about it.
It doesn't look like my sax ads? No, I'm saying sex ed, not saxophone advertisements, Taylor. Well, my sax ads were not like that.
important because it actually helps.
So you didn't have those types of things when you were in school?
Oh no, we had sex ed.
I'm saying the images I posted on Twitter.
We had sex ed in school. Did you not get books with graphic
with
imagery?
pictures of gay sex?
I remember. I don't remember how old you are, but I grew up in the 90s when HIV and AIDS was a big thing, and we certainly learned about gay sex in school.
So those pictures I posted on my Twitter, you had graphics like that?
I actually don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. But I do think that it's really important to.
But knowing those pictures, you seem to know very well what those pictures are. Do you think that?
I don't. I've seen.
Oh, you kept referencing it.
Well, I've seen you post things,
then
but I
should
don't
pull
know.
It out.
But I think, I guess I feel...
Because we need to put this into context.
Yeah. Well, we won't know the context, of course, because we don't know the context of how those things are being taught.
Oh, so we could give kids, like, pictures of gay sex as long as it's in the proper context?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to the educator to determine, right? I don't know.
Who's the reporter
I guess I'm
here?
kind of curious, Kaya, why you sort of focus so much about the LGBT? You keep mentioning gay sex, but you don't mention straight sex.
Oh.
Why is there such a focus on the LGBTQ world?
Oh, I don't want pictures of sex in school. Any pictures.
So you don't think children should receive any sort of sexual education, straight or gay?
I said I don't want pictures of sex in school.
But you think that they should receive picture-free sex education?
No, I think we discussed this earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious kind of how you're thinking, when you think about the way that you put out content and the way that you think about growing your media empire.
Here, this is a blowjob.
See, look, this is a blowjob.
I'm dizzy from laughing.
You're not going to get any OnlyFans being that unenthusiastic about a blow. This is a blowjob.
But she goes,
is she recording a blowjob for Siri?
That is the best change of subject I've ever seen. I'm curious about your beauty empire. There's a picture of blowjob. That was the most amazing. Can you just replay that part again?
Yes.
The way that you put out content and the way that you think about growing your media empire.
Here, this is a blowjob.
Can we get it nice like that?
No, I think I have to.
I don't know what book this is from.
I think I have to.
Okay.
So I have to blue.
So should this picture of a blowjob be in elementary schools?
I've never seen a book like that. In
We can't even let it
but
on
I have no
YouTube.
idea.
It has been.
Okay.
I posted about it, yeah.
So tell me a little bit
So
about.
should it be in elementary schools?
I have no idea the context. I have no idea.
So in
the
what context is it okay if it would be in
I
elementary
have
schools?
absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I would not. I don't know, Kaya, because I haven't seen the rest of that book. I don't know what's in there. I don't know the context.
But there is a context that it would be okay to give kids pictures like that of gay sex, anal sex in elementary school.
I guess sex pictures in school. I don't know because you know who I would defer to on that. Just because neither of us are sex educators, I would defer that question to a qualified professional, a sex educator, and say, hey, You're an expert. You've treated tons, you've educated tons of people. You're a full-time sex educator. You've really studied this.
Oh my God.
What are the appropriate boundaries? I don't think that myself as a journalist or a media personality, I don't think I'm the right one to make that decision. And I guess I'm wondering why
I have seen sex educators say that they want these books in schools. So then you're okay with it?
I think I would want to talk to the sex educator and rely on whatever the sex educators say. Okay. I'm wondering why you...
Because you couldn't possibly make a decision yourself. You'd need an expert to tell you what kind of pornography is okay to show to children in your children's school. This whole deferring to an expert that somehow knows something better, like, hey, should I be able to run kids over with my car? I don't know. I'm not a professional driver. We would have to ask a professional driver. Hey, how about could we stick anal beads in kids in school? I don't know. I'm not a professional sex educator. We'd have to ask.
I'm not a proctologist.
You're not a proctologist. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe this idea that a normal human being doesn't know what's appropriate for their child to see tells you everything you need to know about.
That's true, but before you even get to that part, just for the record, if I ask an adult what they do for a living, and they tell me they're a full-time sex educator of kids, I'm going to make a citizen's arrest, we'll say.
Can I just weigh in really quickly? Because I was in education for over 25 years. And I remember one time you would have to substitute for different classes. And I had a sub one day for the health class. And these were 7th grade students. And I happened to be subbing the day that they were showing the video about what happens to your body during puberty. And I was no sex ed expert. And nor was the health ed teacher. They're not a sex ed expert. Nobody's a sex ed expert who talks about what kids are going through in puberty in a public school.
She went to public school.
So during this segment, the kids are all in front of me watching this video and images of hair sprouting up on their bodies. And I'm in the back seat. I'm in the back row just going, oh my God, trying to keep it together and not laugh. And all the kids kept doing this to me the whole time as this video was showing. And I'm just there. I get why the teacher had a sub that day. All right. All right. Back
Oh,
to Jimmy.
wow. No, you don't think of the ins and outs of the backstage of the job of how awful. I would feel uncomfortable with a reasonable puberty educational film having to sit with those kids.
Right. No kidding.
I'd be like, oh, I would be mortified. They're not like my kids. Like if you had your own kids and you tell them, by the way, your parents are supposed to tell you whatever. Yeah,
that's something for the parents.
Who is Taylor hanging out with? As I hear this, or her talking about this, I was telling some people that, they didn't have that. Is she talking about some third world country she got to go to where they didn't get to learn anything and she's being coy and acting like that's an America? Because just in America, even the poorest of schools, the kids have access to every awful kind of pornography before they even get to goddamn school. So she wasn't talking to somebody from America. There's no chance that she was.
So I just want to sum up Taylor Lorenz's worldview, Kurt.
Yeah.
Exposing children to graphic depictions of anal sex is healthy, but open-face outdoor meetings are deadly.
Jimmy, you can't go open-face out there. I keep trying to tell you.
She's wearing a mask.
You're just going to raw face talk to me.
You just raw face it. So let's go. I don't want to spend too much time on this, even though it's very much fun.
Even though I'm thinking road trip for these two.
So now watch this. When you, they should make a movie out of this, a road trip.
Yeah.
So this is
Yentl and mental. Come on, that's a good.
This is called when you point the finger at someone else, you have 3 fingers pointing back at you. Here we go.
Yeah. I'm curious, I feel like there's been, especially on, my colleagues have done great reporting on sort of like this rift on Twitter. I know that you have a very conservative fan base, and in your comments sometimes you'll see a lot of commentary about sort of the great replacement theory. What are your thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts on the comments on your post telling me to kill myself?
Horrible. Yeah, we're obviously against that. Yeah.
So will you come out and condemn that publicly?
Oh, sure.
I would condemn it anytime. I'm against murdering anyone, of course.
So you're against death threats against me?
I'm a big, as somebody that's dealt with a lot of online harassment, I don't defend threatening to murder anyone. But I guess I'm curious,
because a lot of times it comes after an attack in the media, like someone like you or another journalist.
So are you saying that, if somebody posts something and then attacks follow, that person should answer for those attacks?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that people like you tell me that all the time. So I'm just asking if you think the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think I have said that here, but I think it's...
You literally just opened with it.
So now Taylor Lorenz is trying to pretend her raison d'etre, which is to blame people for social media attacks because of what other people have posted. She blamed NBC News for the social attacks that people, when they made fun of her for crying on NBC News. She blamed NBC News for showing that.
She was really amazing. While she was in the middle of sputtering that out, she showed this is anal sex.
And now she's pretending that this isn't a big thing with her. Because, Libs of TikTok is trying to hold her accountable to the same thing. Hey, you've written all kinds. You doxed me. She doxed her. That's why she didn't want to be a public person. Now she is, because Taylor Lorenz doxed her. And as private, not the powerful, a private citizen who wanted to remain private.
Someone very similar to her in terms of their speaking.
Yes.
Is that the irony? When I said that, I think we have a lot more in common.
And so Libs of TikTok is like, are you going to take responsibility for all the grief I've taken for you doxing me? And of course she's not going to.
Well, you know what's frustrating? Like, Taylor Lorenz stinks. Libs of TikTok, there's like 3 places you really could have cut. Because Taylor Lorenz says, like, do you think someone's responsible for a thing? And you don't have to be coy and answer, well, do you think it's... You go, no, I'm not. I don't support any of that. What sane person would? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's not a thing. And then she goes, but it is a thing. Like, well, you did it to me, so you better hope it's not. Like, that's basically, I guess what I'm
she blew it, is what you're saying. There needs
to be a man here to just, like, explain, I don't want to say mansplain, but from a masculine perspective, how to get to the goddamn point.
Yes, okay.
I think it's kind of interesting, I guess, in the conservative movement, there's this ideology around sort of white nationalism, which is obviously kind of a hardline ideology that's generally been pretty critical of Jewish communities. And I'm wondering, as a Jewish...
Which is totally different than Jewish nationalism in Israel. Okay.
She's the least clever human. She's like you see her lame ass trying to, like, gotcha, like, Jewish and white nationalism. Oh, I've never heard of that. What is that, Taylor? Explain it to me with your face yarmulke.
Woman, how do you feel about sort of aligning yourself with those people and accounts? You see this sort of rhetoric in your replies, and I only bring it up. I'm not saying that you necessarily endorse that rhetoric. I would imagine that you don't. But how do you kind of think about those nuances when you're thinking about kind of the audience that you're building?
Here's a blowjob.
Some of your audience says we should chop off kids' body parts. What do you think about that?
It's like Taylor does not expect. You know what's funny is
I'm trying to think of ways that Taylor Lorenz could look worse in this interview. The only way, maybe if she's eating a human limb while doing this interview, don't worry, he was humanely sourced.
Well, the mask.
The establishment only uses suicidal people.
I think the mask is not anything with COVID or any autoimmune disorder. I think it's people call her old, and she has nice eyes.
So she's trying to,
and and so what happens is it creates a weird effect of like Jew versus Arab almost. Like eyes covered like this.
This is her fighting against aging.
Right, her true fight is against aging.
That's her real fight. All right, we've spent enough time on this.
I would like a series though.
But I think it should be a series or a road movie where they take a trip.
Reality show.
Yeah.
What was that one with what's her name? Paris Hilton, the other one?
Oh, right.
Richie's
Nikki Richie or whatever her name. What was her name?
And they would go on a tour and like, we're working on a farm today. Do you think kids should see sex? I don't know. Do you think if someone gets
I didn't watch 1 second of it, so I can't even tell you.
I didn't either, but I could see like updated for modern audiences. Yeah.
This would be it. I bet you this would be a hit.
They're at the farm. She's like, are you familiar with white nationalism?
But
I can't understand.
Just for the record, I find Libs of TikTok Twitter feed much more entertaining and informative than anything Taylor Lorenz has ever written in her life. She's just putting up videos that other people recorded themselves.
If it was her just talking, I'd probably
hate it. I'd probably hate it
because she's doing honest. Yeah. Whatever her feelings of watching them talk, She's just putting up a thing that happened.
Yeah.
I don't even read the crap she feels about it before the post.
Does she even write things? I don't know.
I guess. I don't even know. But but the point is, I'm definitely on her side in a Taylor Lorenz fight. And I'm going to say she won by wearing that shirt. If you show up to a cat fight wearing a mask, you lost.
I'm looking up.
Taylor Lorenz brought a dog to a cat fight.
I asked Mass Taylor Lorenz how old she is, and she refused to say. She claims it will harm her family if people know her age. Wait a minute. Are you kidding?
Nuh-uh.
Okay.
How old are you?
Oh God, good question. I don't put it out on the internet.
Oh, on
Good
purpose?
question.
Yeah.
Why?
Because people have done a lot of crazy shit to my family, and I don't put out my age, my birthday.
Involving time travel?
You know how it is. I don't want.
I mean, I've said many times I'm 29.
Yeah, I guess I don't want to put my birthday out there because I don't put my.
It's for your birthday, just your age.
Yeah, I don't put it out there.
Why? How does it affect your family?
Well, it's my birthday. I don't want my birthday out there.
My birthday's not out there either.
It's not. Yeah,
No.
I guess mine is, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
But it's not I mean, you can find. It's not hard to find my age if you Google. So it's not like a secret or anything. But there is such an obsession with it, and I do think it's.
I think it's because you're so like secretive about it.
I know. I think probably that has a lot
Yeah.
to do with
You
it.
just
Yeah,
said
you
your
think
age. I don't
the
think
mask.
anyone would care.
Yeah, I don't know. I like a little bit of lore,
Yeah, no, we noticed.
but you're probably right.
How old are you?
So
This is the cattiest thing I've ever seen.
I can't believe this conversation took place.
Look at this subtle, delicate dance. Of
Yes.
death. How old are you? Do you think it's cool if people kill people because they saw a thing that made them mad to people because you put it up? Do you feel like how do you feel about that?
So her name, Libs of TikTok's name is Shaya Raichik. Did you know that?
Yeah, but I kept forgetting.
She says, to summarize my interview with Taylor Lorenz, she's not at all concerned about our open border and millions of people invading our country. She's pro-mutilation and castration of minors. She wants porn in schools. She wants the media to be allowed to defame me with impunity. She wants me to be responsible for all reactions, comments, and actions that happen after I post a TikTok, but doesn't want to take responsibility for what happens after her reporting on me.
I mean, it was pretty clear.
She's a lizard person.
Libs of TikTok, bam!
She's scared of people knowing her age. She's still wearing a mask outdoors in 2024.
I got to give that. And, Libs of TikTok, who says her age openly, 29, at least 10 years younger than Taylor Lorenz. And, at Watch and Exchange, Libs of TikTok has more right to talk like that because she's 29.
She couldn't or purposely avoid. This is from someone else. Taylor Lorenz couldn't or purposely avoided defining and to define anything like the media's responsibility or the difference between a violent bomb threat and a death threat. She believes the media is a special class who need to only take care, something she never did in doxing you. She loves her logical fallacies a lot. She doesn't think no means no. Why'd she keep prying about finances? I guess I have to watch the whole video. I just watched
more?
There's more to that.
Oh, I'm going to hunt down, this would be
She says she supports free speech but disables comments on her posts. She does do that. What kind of a journalist disables comments on their posts?
Well, she's not, Taylor Lorenz, by the way, all the issues she's talking about, she doesn't care about. She cares about one issue, which is, you're like the stupid people and like listen to experts. And I know I'm not because my uncle owns the history of the internet online.
That's right.
And my sister is important. And
her uncle owns the Wayback Machine, right?
I can't even tell you how old I am, or that I have to kill you because my family could die. I don't like to say because if people found out, my family could be hurt. Here's a blowjob. I'm curious about you, though. Let's talk about you and your media.
We got to stop
white nationalism.
This
is a butthole. This is somebody I hope is going to make this show. I know Taylor's crazy and won't do it, but the two of them, send them on road trips.
We should do a parody. It's hard to parody
We should just cut this up and make a fake opening with like a cutesy cartoon and then show them butthole.
As a butthole.
Yeah.
Okay, over to stuff.
You know, I think it was really interesting that she talked about that she went to public school.
No, she
Now,
didn't.
I will
Switzerland?
guarantee
Yeah, in
that girl
Switzerland.
went to private elementary schools.
Is it Montessori school?
They only post on her Wikipedia that she went to a public school for high school. So was she homeschooled? Because if she was homeschooled,
no.
people lose their shit.
No, she went. I bet you she went.
She went to a private school.
Okay, but definitely she did. But at some point, she went to like the kind of public school. So I grew up in New Jersey, and they kind of, I don't know if it still is, but they had good rated schools overall in Jersey. So ours was like decent, but we went on some trip to hear someone speak at the school like 3 towns down from a apparently much higher tax bracket. And the kids got an espresso machine in their goddamn school and like stuff. You're like, wow. So you know those kind of neighborhoods where everybody's rich, and yeah, I send my kids to public school, but if you can't send your kids there unless you're within a very specific district.
That's right.
That you will not be allowed to move into.
So she grew up in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, is an affluent coastal village in Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Greenwich.
As of 2010, the census, it had a population of, anybody want to guess the population?
Generational Satanists.
6,611. That was the population of her community.
6,000 of like Atlantean warlock tracing their lineage back.
That's a pretty private community.
Pilgrim people.
All right. So here we go. Let's go with.
I went to a public school in Old Greenwich.
Cortez D. Thank you for that earlier chat that I didn't read your name. Hey, KKO. Was. I wonder what RFK is going to say about Aaron Bushnell not holding my breath. Thank you, K-Cot. All right, gotcha that one. All right. Is the Ukrainian Special Service available for parties? Maybe we can get a 2-for-1 with Bill Maher and Jon Stewart. Joey, relax. Hey, can you get Robert Barnes on to talk about the Amos Miller case, Amish farmer raided by the feds? I did not read about that one. Stand by. We gotta talk about that one. That's a good heads up story. Thank you for that one, DM. John Kiraku says the CIA fucks up every operation despite brainstorming a plan B, C, and D. Seamus. Thank you, Seamus.
So is it really a fuck up if it's always happens and not, literally the job itself is to do that? Fuck everything up? Like not a bug, a feature, as they say?
Right. I get you on that one. I still think,
I'm not just
to
saying
err
that
is
my
human. To forgive is divine. The end image from the Aaron Bushnell video is like an allegory of the U.S.-Israel dynamic. The U.S. burns alive while Israel points a gun at its head. It's possible the most American image I've ever seen. Ajid Garavnos have Richard Heinberg and Vandana Shiva not wanted to be interviewed by you. I'm shocked as you had Tony Heller. Also, please talk to G. Galloway about the success of third-party politics in the UK. Thank you, Garavnos, for that recommendation. Jimmy Dore fans fomenting community think the C was a scam. Think Biden's brain has melted. Are you 18 to 25 like Taylor Lorenz? Join our anti-establishment social club. Find us on X and Instagram. That's Jimmy Dore Fans Fomenting Community. And by the way, Taylor Lorenz, even on Wikipedia, they don't quite know what her age is. And most people say it's 40. Maybe that's why she doesn't want people to know. I don't sound like I'm
46.
40.
What are you trying to say, bitch?
Elias Wagner, it would be fun if there would be a way for artists to submit music to be featured in the Jimmy Dore Be Right Back card. Elias Wagner. Let me bring it up to the crew on that. All right. Thank you, Elias, for that one. I agree with Taylor. My 5-year-old son will be attending Catholic school. So to prepare him, I gave him a copy of Shaving Ryan's Privates and Sorest Rump. Joey, but a fuckface. Thank you, Joey, but a fuckface. Hemp car. What do you have? The WHO ICMEC says ages 0 through 4 need to be taught about touching themselves. Also, Wikipedia has a list of many Americans who self-emulated themselves, but they didn't get covered. I'm guessing many would have been too detrimental to USA legitimacy. If it's reported, it's not damaging. Rockfin, thank you there, Hempcar. All right, let's go over here. NSA literally cut into the fiber optic cables between Google data centers and put an NSA equivalent of a Hoover vacuum machine to intercept data. That's J.A. Savage. Don't knock, John. The Kremlin is trying to find a Russian Nazi that he can pin a medal on before the sit-down interview. P. Walker. International Brigades for Palestine. Jimmy, if you talk about it, I give you one of my wives, Victor. He already has one wife. I hear she's very nice. On the home. Uh-oh.
It's too much.
Back to Jim Jam.
Things people love about you is they believe you tell it like it is.
Says it like it is. He speaks the truth.
It's about time we have a man like Trump in here. They ain't afraid to tell it like it is, man.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
She has no natural talent to be president.
She's very talented, and she has a husband that I also like very much.
Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the United States.
Hillary Clinton, how did she do as Secretary of State? Probably above and beyond everybody else.
Let's say Hillary is president.
Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I think she really works hard, and I think she does a good job, and I like her. I will build the wall, and Mexico is going to pay for it, and they'll be happy to pay for it.
I'm not going to pay for that fucking wall.
This guy used a filthy, disgusting word on television, and he should be ashamed of himself, and he should apologize, okay?
Listen, you motherfuckers.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. We'll beat the shit out of them. Political bullshit.
You're not going to raise that fucking price, you understand?
Donald, true or false, you've said the government should pay for everyone's health care?
That's false.
You've never said that.
Everybody's got to be covered.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody.
Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side.
He said I was in favor of Libya. I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now. Gaddafi in Libya is killing thousands of people. We should go in. We should stop this guy, which would be very easy and very quick. Stop him from doing it and save these lives. They're here illegally. You take them, they have to go back.
We have to show some compassion.
You're right.
We just can't throw everybody out.
They have
So you're going to split up families.
Chuck,
you're going to deport children.
Chuck, no. We're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them together out.
But they have to go.
How do you throw somebody out that's lived in this country for 20 years?
North Korea has nukes. Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with it. Maybe they would, in fact, be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. Maybe we would be better off. Including with nukes. Yes, including with nukes.
And they said, I want Japan to nuke. I want Japan to get nuclear weapons. Give me a break.
But if you say to Japan, yes, it's fine, you get nuclear weapons, South Korea, you as well, and Saudi Arabia says we want them too.
Can I be honest with you? It's going to happen anyway. So it's only a question of time. I'm a conservative person. The Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, just what's going on is just nuts.
Bush says, I do not believe he's a true conservative. These people are stupid.
Do you identify more as a Democrat or a Republican?
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. The economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists.
What do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party. Wages too high. We're not going to be able to compete against the world. I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is. I don't know how people make it on $7.25 an hour. I would like to see an increase of some magnitude.
Do you believe voters have a right to see your tax returns before they make a final decision?
I don't think they do.
If I decide to run for office, I'll produce my tax returns, absolutely.
There have been many presidents that have not shown their tax returns.
Actually, every single nominee since 1976 has released their tax
before
returns.
1976.
Nobody was worse to women or abused women more than Bill Clinton. Look at the trouble
Bill Clinton got into with something that was totally unimportant.
She's married to a man who got impeached.
They tried to impeach him, which was nonsense.
He was impeached for lying.
I'm the only one on the stage that said we should not go into Iraq.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
Honesty, Carter once said, "I'll never lie to you." Would you say that, the American people?
I would never lie.
When I'm president, I'm a different person. I can do anything. I can be the most politically correct person that you've ever seen. I can be the most politically correct person in the world. And I can be the opposite.
The president has to be a great leader, and you have to lead by example.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
Like to punch him in the face. I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
Blood coming out of her wherever.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
I don't know what I said. This guy will say anything.
Certain that Donald Trump has ever read outside of his own is the book of Hitler's speeches he kept next to his bed in the 1990s, according to his ex-wife. His ex-wife, he was very pissed when she released that information, okay? Because at that time he was still liberal. He didn't want people to know it at that time. So somehow she fell down the stairs and cracked her head open, right? All right, so we're going to get into this, and I'm going to show you this, all right? 92-year-old C-SPAN caller said he met Trump's father, a fan of Hitler and dictators. During C-SPAN's Washington Journal call-in segment, Pete, who identified himself as a 92-year-old from West Palm Beach, Florida, said Trump's father, Fred Trump, visited his village and was a fan of Hitler and dictators. Pete implied Trump got his views of dictators from his father. Now, keep in mind that Donald Trump was a libtard his entire life. Children are often heavily influenced by the views of their parents. Trump's father and Trump were sued for racial discrimination in housing, and Fred was once arrested at a Ku Klux Klan rally for failing to disperse. The 1927 article reporting the arrest doesn't make it clear Fred Trump's status or association with the Klan. Don't his actual loyalties to the brewing years of World War II if they happen to live in the greater New York City region. New York and its suburbs in Long Island and New Jersey had a vibrant community of first and second generation German Americans, the latter having included Fred Trump Sr., a rising star in real estate and retailing. Also active in New York, New Jersey region was the German American Bund, or Amerika Deutscher Bund, an organization that supported Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party and the goals and aspirations of the new Germany. The Bund had been created in May 1933 on the orders of German Deputy Führer Rudolf Hess. The first Bund leader was German immigrant Heinrich Heinz Spacknobel, who initially called his group the Friends of New Germany. In fact, the Bund was nothing more than an overseas extension of the German Nazi Party, and it took its orders directly from Berlin. Outside of the town in Windham, on American soil no less, right? The height of the Bund's activities was a February 20, 1930 rally at New York City's Madison Square Garden. This is the rally that I'm talking about right here, okay? This is the rally that Enlightened Master is telling you that Donald Trump's father was in, okay? Sir Norman Vincent Peale was Donald Trump's 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason pastor. This is the seal of the 33rd degree. It's also the family crest of Donald J. Trump. Okay, Albert Pike, who is the most famous Scottish Rite Freemason of all time, was the head of the Knights of the Golden Order, who later changed their name to the Ku Klux Klan. I'm going to provide it. Okay. I'm not going to be nasty to people. I'm just going to provide the information. All right, that's what I'm going to do. The elder Trump was he was even sued for it, publicly known to be a racist, and he refused to rent his apartments in Queens and Brooklyn to African Americans. Wow, that must be a coincidence. In 1927, there were few organizations for far-right extremists like Fred Trump to join. One was the KKK, which had its roots in the post-Civil War Reconstruction South. Another was Italian lender Benito Mussolini's overseas Fascisti, which was primarily composed of Italian immigrants to the United States. By the early 1930s, far-right wingers in the American North were fast to embrace the Nazis, and Kunzbund was able to ready to answer the call and begin recruiting in its ranks. Fred Trump's FBI file, which includes the 1927 arrest at the KKK march, appears to be missing his pre-war and immediate post-war year activities. The file does not resume until the 1960s, when the FBI began monitoring the elder Trump's association with mafia syndicates in New York. Brother, remember I told you and I've showed you unequivocally that his brother had everything to do with the murder of and the torture of Nikola Tesla. In New York, old man Trump also suspiciously volunteered after dodging World War II draft to construct Navy barracks and garden apartments in at least 3 highly sensitive Navy ports in Chester, Pennsylvania, and Norfolk and Newport News, Virginia. Yeah, that's right. He was a draft dodger, to all you Trump dodgers out there. All 3 ports saw thousands of Americans and Canadian troops embarked for combat in North Africa and Europe. Some of these ships fell prey to German U-boats, which received intelligence on the Allied ship movements from Nazi agents in the very same port areas where old man Trump so generously bid on construction contracts with the Navy. Right here, with the Navy. Let me repeat his treason again, okay? All 3 ports saw thousands of American and Canadian troops embarked for combat in North Africa and Europe. Some of these troop ships fell prey to German U-boats. In other words, Americans got killed because of Donald Trump's father, which received intelligence on the Allied ship movements from Nazi agents in the very same port areas where old man Trump so generously bid on construction contracts with the Navy.
I suppose old man Trump knows just how much racial hate he stirred up in the blood parts of the folks in New York State. He drawed that colored line that we fought in the last war, and we ain't got no home in this world anymore. Beach Haven ain't my home, I just can't pay the rent. My money's down the drain, and my soul is badly bent. Beach Haven looks like heaven where no black folks come to roam. No, 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 old man Trump, Beach Haven ain't my home. No.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit